and you are being helped to improve your manuscript. So keep calm. Usually what I'm doing is that if let's say I got a very, a lot of comments from the reviewing process. So what I'm doing as the author is that I will like give it a day break, and then we'll focus on the next morning, okay, so that I can look at the process, the reviewing process objectively. And writing a manuscript for publication is indeed a continuous learning process. Okay, we will never become an expert if you do not have the experience, if you do not try. Okay, so I think with this short talk, it will really benefits everyone and get to give some new knowledge, okay, to the participants. Okay, so Dr. Sara, so I think that's all, okay, for my presentation. And I would like to thank everyone for listening. And also, if let's say have any questions, so I'm very pleased, okay, to answers. I will try my best to answers. If you don't have time, because now we have quite a lot of other speakers as well. So you also wish, okay, to email me or to the JOA emails. Thank you, Dr. Farida.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ruhaida, for the very meaningful and informative presentation. So, quickly, I just would like to forward a couple of questions coming from the chat box. Okay, from Dr. Jasmine Vivian Andrew. She was asking, hi doctor, is it necessary to respond back to the reviewer's comment? And second question would be from Dr. Afifa Zakia Juri, who's asking about her paper recently got rejected due to not well explained novelty. Okay, she would like to ask how would she improve her paper for resubmission. If you're not clear, Dr. Ruhaida, you can check with to the chat box on the left side. Okay, quickly we go through these two questions.
Okay, thank you for the question. So number one, I think if I got it correctly, the audience asking about is it necessary to respond to the reviewers? Okay, first of all, okay, I will advise is you have to refer to the journals. Based on my experience, most of them, yes, they will ask you to respond to the reviewers' comments. Okay, just that the way how do you respond to the comments, some of them have a very specific formats. Okay, and some of, for example, okay, if let's say the reviewers asking you to go for a proofreading, so sometimes the reviewer also want to have some proven, okay, documents that you already undergo that proofreading process, for example. So my advice is, yes, please refer to the journal's guideline. Although I will say that most of the journals will require you to give the response to the reviewers, okay, comments. And how are you going to respond to the reviewers' comment? As I've just now shared. So these are some of the examples. So of course, okay, it takes sometimes some skills and definitely some knowledge to write down the response. So that's why usually, okay, the authors are given quite a few times to answer that response to reviewers, because sometimes we may require, additional experiment or maybe additional references. So take your time, okay, to collect all of that information and to improve your manuscript. And number two, novelty. Yes, novelty is quite challenging nowadays, okay, to especially if let's say we are aimed to a high impact factor journals, so they really look into the novelty. So that is why, okay, perhaps for a social, especially for science and technology, so before we are actually written, okay, our manuscript, we have to really design our research, okay. So a good literature review will give you an opportunity to determine what is actually the gaps, Okay, what is actually the issues that are having around in your research area. Okay, and so that it will help you to design your research before you doing the manuscript, so that okay, when you are writing the manuscripts, you have a clearly significance of the research. Okay, and if let's say okay, perhaps okay, after this maybe okay, if you would like to have let's say a personal one-to-one discussion, so please feel free to contact me. Okay, so I think I do hope that I already managed to address these two questions, Dr. Farida.
Um, yes, okay. So I received another question. I don't know whether I hope you can answer this in a very simple opinion from Dr. Muhammad Aidil Ibrahim, asking saying that his paper has been rejected because the area of the research is not suitable with the journal. However, he has looked through the papers published in that journal. He can say that the paper can be included. Should he reply to the rejection paper to convince them? Okay, or just respect their decision? Maybe you can just briefly explain or respond to this question.
Okay, thank you. Okay, for the question. So I also have gone through, I think, the same experience. Okay, whereby me and my team feel that okay, this journal is very stable. Okay, with our research, and we actually already know or do all the formatting to follow the research guideline, and then unfortunately, it's being rejected. So first of all, okay, I think that the first one is you have to look into, is there any comments, further comments given by the editors, okay, or reviewers, okay. So if let's say there is no comment, it's just a totally rejection, it just that okay, they reject it from the editor's part, okay. So perhaps as for me, I will consider to choose another journal because it just not gone under through the reviewing process. But if let's say, okay, they reject and they give you quite a lengthy a discussion or a description why actually they reject your paper, so perhaps, okay, you may wish, okay, to write back and perhaps taking asking them if let's say you are able to address that following comments, are they going to consider on it. I believe that there is no harm of trying unless they specifically say please do not write to us again, or our decision is final. So then if that say in that case, unfortunately, okay, we may consider not to publish in that journal. However, when one please take this approach. When one door close, another door will be open, definitely. So I do hope that I can give some insights into that question, Dr. Adi.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you to Dr. Muhammad Aidil Ibrahim for delivering his question. Okay, thank you very much for all the questions and comments. Thank you again, Dr. Ruhaida, for the very useful information and a new insight that has been provided to us, as some of us are being a reviewer and also the author, that we have been given this useful information lah, to look to improve the visibility of our manuscript from the reviewer's point of view. All right. Thank you again, Dr. Ruhaida. And now we move on to, I think, Dr. Ruhaida, you can turn off your presentation. Okay, now we move on to session 3. Okay, we move on to session 3. Okay, session 3 is we are going to introduce our third guest speaker. This is a special invitation from our international guest speaker, Dr. Wenny Bekti Sunarhanum from the Universitas Brawijaya, Indonesia. Dr. Wenny Bekti Sunarhanum is the JOA's International Associate Editor. She is currently attached as a lecturer in the Faculty of Agricultural Technology in Universitas Brawijaya, Indonesia. So her research expertise covers the wide area of food flavor and sensory science, molecular gastronomy, and culinology. So in this session 3, Dr. Wenny Bekti Sunarhanum is going to deliver her presentation entitled Researcher Visibility and Acquaintance. So without further ado, I am pleased to welcome Dr. Wenny Bekti Sunarhanum to deliver her presentation. Dr. Wenny, are you there?
Hello, Dr. Farida.
Yes, hello. So
Hello,
Dr.
thank
Wenny,
you.
you may start your presentation. The
Yes,
session
I
is
will
now
set
yours.
it up. Okay.
All right.
Can you view this presentation?
Yes, clearly we can see. So far, so good.
Okay. I'll try to make it into share. Please wait a second. Sorry, I just need to make it slide sharing, but I cannot click it.
No problem, doctor. No problem. Just take your
So
time.
can I just try to stop sharing and then redo it again?
Yes, you may restart.
Okay, I will restart.
I think, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Wait. Yes. So you can view it now. It's good. Is it? Everyone can view this?
Yes.
Dr. Farida?
Yes, okay. Yes, okay, clear.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum
Alright.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. So first of all, I would like to thank Professor Dr. Yasmin Yassin, Director of UiTM Negeri Sembilan, Malaysia, for the opportunity, and also to the deputy directors, and then the Journal of Academia UiTM, as well as the committee. And I would like to thank the participants for listening to my talk. Okay, my name is Wenny Bekti Sunarhanum. So I'm from the Department of Agricultural Product Technology, Faculty of Agricultural Technology, Universitas Brawijaya, Malang. And in this occasion, I would like to share my topic on the researcher visibility and acquaintance. Okay. Yeah, maybe this is a bit more general topic. Yeah. So first, what does it means by being visible? So I think maybe it could be related to what my son asked me a while ago, because he asked me, why do we exist? Why do we exist? But well, I guess that's just another story. But for us, for researchers and scientists, being visible means that the people will know that we exist. And it means that our work and profile should be made public. Yeah. So the publications or artwork or anything that we produce as a researchers and scientists should be made easy to access. So this one is
Sorry.
the one that already, sorry, yes?
Dr. Wenny,
Yep.
I think your slide is being cropped. We can't see the whole slide.
Oh,
I think
really?
you should, yeah, we only see a part of the slide.
Only part?
Yeah. Maybe I
Okay.
think you should make it as a slideshow and then share screen.
Okay, so this is a slideshow and then share screen. Okay,
Yes.
I'll just try to do it again. I'm sorry if that's all right.
No problem, no problem.
Okay, so it's cut. You can see only half of it, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Just now
so
only half of the
yeah,
slide.
I'm trying to fix it and show. So, can you view this?
Not yet appear.
Not yet. Okay. Mm. Why is it a problem now? Okay. Yeah. Or is it okay to share my entire screen? Or no, maybe
Yes,
window.
I
Maybe
think that's
just window.
better. Entire screen, just click onto the PowerPoint slide.
Okay, wait.
Okay. While you are presenting,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Or I'll try again with my slide.
try
Okay.
yeah, entire screen. I think it's
This
better.
one, is it okay?
Yes.
So
Yep.
I don't need to.
Yes.
Is it okay to present it this way? So I can put
You can
everything.
click on to the slideshow. Okay.
Is it all already or still cut?
Oh, still
Okay.
being cut. I think for us to see the whole presentation, I think better for the like previous view.
Okay.
No need to be in slideshow.
Okay.
I
Just
think that
previous
is just
view
fine.
only.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll try to do it again. So apologize for that. So I'll do the end show. Can you view this? No?
Not yet.
Yeah. Okay. I'll present again. Okay. Okay. You can view it now. Is it the whole screen? I mean, it's not cut. I can present it
Yes.
this way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Boleh. Alright.
Okay. Boleh. Yeah. So I'll get back to the slide. So the one that we can do here is that to make everything easy to access. Just like Lauren said in 2001, that it should be made online. It's already in 2001. And then further, there is Ibrahim and friends had to mention about traceability and accessibility of our work to others. So it has more impact and contribution to society. So it means that we need to think about traceability and accessibility of our research result or the outputs. So that's based on the Abraham and friends. And then the question is how to make it visible. So there is a statement that we should publish or perish, but then it has been changed into visible or vanish. So, but how to be visible? So to be visible is that we need to, we need to increase research visibility and impact. First of all, of course, we do the research, yes, and then we publish it, and then we communicate it and disseminate it to the wider audience. And then finally, we also need to evaluate the impact or to track it. Yeah, I guess this is the extract or the summary. Yeah, and it has been suggested by Barton and Merrily in 2019. So yeah, this is from Barton and Merrily. So we know that there are many ways to check the impact of our work, as what has been explained here by Elsevier. So in this quick reference card for research impact metrics, yeah. So Elsevier is a Dutch publishing and analytic company, and it's founded in 1880, in the year 1880. And it has archived millions of articles, and then created SCOPUS as well, such as for journal articles indexing. So yeah, it's quite important, and big or giant publishers that we often want to publish in their journals indexed by this Scopus, and also maybe published by Elsevier. And that matrix indicates, this matrix indicates the impact of our research output. And the card here is just a guidance, for example, to choose where and what to read. And then this is also information maybe on the H index, impacts, and etc. And I guess the detail later will be explained by Dr. Kavi regarding H index and then the impact and so on. So there are also some strategies to increase our visibility. This is based on the University of Maryland in USA. And they mention some points as listed here. It will be much more beautiful if I can make it into slideshow, but there's a problem. I'm sorry, technical problem. But at least we can get the point of this talk. I guess that's the most important point. So first is that we can do the open repository. I believe the universities also do the open repository already. They have, like in our university, we have a repository as well. And then we have, like at the University of Queensland, we have a UQA space as well. And maybe in other universities, and also in your university, you have repository, open repository as well. And then the next one is that you can publish into an open access journal. So in this way, you aim that your research or your output, research output, will be accessible for wider audience and also scientists without needing them to pay for your for the access. To access the publications or your articles. So this open access will give more advantage as well to the dissemination of the research output, and also to increase your profile. So this open access, you can, I guess many journals already offer open access, even though they have maybe different platforms or different regulations regarding the maybe copyright issues and so on, so that you may share your data. Okay, you can share anything that you write or your data as long as it's okay. As long as it's okay, you need to abide by the rules or the law, and at least you check it whether it's copyright or who owns the copyright, and then you need to publish it on the online journal with the search features. In that way, people can search you and can find what they are looking for. And the next one is the social networking tools here. Social networking tools. It means that you can use something like ResearchGate, and then Mendeley, SlideShares, Twitters, etc. Yeah, that's for promoting your research and your expertise. And then the next one, you can show your presence by creating the, you make your presence online. You create IDs like ORCID IDs, and then researcher ID, maybe Google Scholar, and then LinkedIn account. Yeah, so it means that you create this online ID to make the people easy to find you, to make you visible. So if you don't have any, maybe we can start, or you can start to make one. And then create and publish your work in a personal or uni website. So when you have a personal website, it will be a great advantage. But if not, you can use the uni website. And then it's also important that we recommend our work to others. So it means that when you are teaching or when you are doing some talks, conference, you can promote and recommend some good articles. This is I publish, you can view it and so on. And then you can, it's also important that you choose the best keywords and write a good abstract. And the last point from this strategy mentioned by University of Maryland that we can follow is that we can publish the review articles and something that something like opinion or thought, your opinion or your thought, or maybe the conceptual framework like what Dr. Siti Sara mentioned. I think that's also a good strategy. And then the next one is that there is a scholarly publishing strategy published by the University of Queensland, Australia, and they also suggest this step for visibility. So first, think which journals are best. So you need to try to avoid at least the bad journal or predatory journals. So because there are still lots of predatory journals out there, so you need to be careful. Sometimes they also send you some emails and you cannot find their address, and then sometimes the editorial board is not quite trustworthy. I mean, you need to check everything so that you will not get into the predatory journal. And then the next in the checking section is that you also need to check, is there any publication fees, for example, and then how much that you need to pay. That's also become your consideration, maybe, as some journals might need you to pay a bit more expensive than others. And when you are taking the open access, maybe they also need the author to pay a lot of money. And some other journals might just give you for free. I mean, no processing charge. But I guess that's also okay, because it's also one of the editorial or the journal's way to maintain the running of the journal itself. So sometimes they just require just a little money, and that's not a problem. But open access usually also takes a bit more of your budget. Okay, and then submit your articles here, and then here you need to use your IDs like or seed IDs, and then finally you also advise to promote it and track it. Yeah, so you need to see the performance through the metrics or alt metrics. So here we also need to sell ourselves actually as researchers, meaning that we need to promote our expertise, and then we need to raise our profile, and it can be done through many social networking tools, like I also explained in the previous slides. Yeah, so the majority of the social networking tools used by the researchers are, as mentioned here, ResearchGate, and then Google Scholar Citation, and ORCID, and also academia. So it means that we need to at least have the account of that scholar social networking, and then we need to update it as well. And we have LinkedIn since 2012. We can use LinkedIn as well, and this LinkedIn are reaching more to the professionals from industrial sectors in a way that it will give them more opportunity or more access to get a good candidate for certain positions that they offer in their company. So we can also put that, especially for postgraduates or the graduates, or also the maybe when you are looking for postdoctoral students or other things. And we also have published in 2012. All similarly, we need to put and update the profiles, just like what the suggestion by RMIT Melbourne, that we need to put maybe the wow factor as well, in our profiles. So for example, whether we have done some peer review or we become reviewers of some journals maybe, and then what kind of awards and how many awards that we have received, and then the international collaborations and also the research grant. So that's also important. So don't forget to keep it accurate, and then also try to find maybe in the website, you can search it online, that your names might appear in the few few models, or for example, what I mean is that, for example, maybe you can put it with initial in some journals. You have publications, but you don't have consistency in writing your names, because some journals might write you, for example, my name is WB Sunarhanum, they put WB Sunarhanum, or they put it Wenny Bekti Sunarhanum in full, and sometimes it might create different identifications. So I mean they just appear many of that, and then you need to make them into or link them into just one account or one ID. So here also some widely available citation and indexing. So it will be more useful if we publish in the journal that has been indexed by at least few of those indexing databases. So for example, at least you are aiming for SCOPUS in the future, so it means that you need to find the rules how to make my journal indexed by SCOPUS. So there are some requirements that you need to follow, including the international board editor, and then also other the citations and other requirements that you can search in the SCOPUS requirement. So the publication for researchers, publication in the journal that is indexed by this indexing, the widely database, means that we are more visible, because we are more readily accessible by the people in the world. So we can have more connections and acquaintance who has the similar interests in our field, and that's also important for our future works and future collaboration. And here are some examples of my social networkings and how I measure the impact of research and publications. Well, I'm still a young scientist. I need to publish a lot more and to improve my profile as well, and to improve the publications, citations, and so on. However, as we can see here, the articles that is a review article actually is a good strategy for you to be seen by others, because the one that is called review articles, or maybe the conceptual framework that you publish or opinion that you publish, it will has it tend to have more citation from other people. Like this one is only one. It has only one review article. It already has 220 citation, and mostly from the Scopus Index journal as well. So that's the opportunity for you. So maybe in this COVID situation, it's also a good chance when we are not able to, especially for the science background, science field, when you are not being able to do the lab work, maybe the one that you can do is writing up some articles and something that is useful that can be cited by many people in the world. So yeah, that's the important message. And then the next one is about the social media. So you know that we are social media people, so because we are using a lot of social media so far. And of course it's good, especially in the current situation, but we need to be creative and wise on using it so that the people will get to know us. So the important is that we can disseminate our research result or the outputs, and it's not only on papers, but we can optimize the usefulness of the research, the result from our study for the wider community, and that's also, I guess, very important for us. So here is an interesting information about social media in the world in January 2020. That we can see here, the Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp are the they were the 3 top uses social platforms in the world. So this is the general survey for to the people in the world. So mostly they are using Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp. But Indonesian and Malaysian, based on those study, we are mostly assessing YouTube, and then we use WhatsApp, Facebook, and also Instagram. So we like to watch. Yeah, maybe we also like to shop actually. But what is the importance of this trend is that we can take an advantage of it. So to continue, there is the data also from this survey. This is conducted by We Are Social actually, and We Are Social who cite January 2020. And if you want to access more data, you can just find it and access it online. But from this idea, we can see that Indonesian, they are active social media users. So at least 56% of them are active social media users. Yeah, 56%. And we spend 3 hours and at least 3 hours, 26 minutes for social media each day. And then what about Malaysian? So Malaysia has 26 million active users, which is 81% of the population, and they spend around 4 hours and 3 minutes on using internet. So this is to the mobile phone. Yeah, this based on the data by We Are Social. So what is the importance again from this point is that because it means that we have opportunity as researchers and also scientists. This social media can be our opportunity because it is widely accessed by many people. So when we would like to deliver our opinions or something important for the people, maybe based on our research, so we need to promote our research to the wider audience, that maybe the not only with the scientific or academic backgrounds like that, but to the wider community, so we can make use of this social media. It means that if you are not a Twitter user, start to use Twitter. I'm not using Twitter actually, but I use other social media, just like, for example, Instagram and other media. So you can take the benefit of it. So I would like to share my experience for this visibility and acquaintance issue. I guess even though there is a lot more to do still, but yeah, we can see that we try to disseminate the research and raising our profiles to the Instagram and then newspaper or media covers, and then maybe interview by CNN, and then podcast interview, publishing articles in magazines as well. So it's not only in the journals, but it's also important that you publish it in the media that is access to wider audience, like I previously explained. Yeah. So it will give you more access, or you can reach out the companies, industries, and also other communities. So that's the examples that we did in the our faculty and also in the university. The media is also sometimes become the output of your research. You have to put it in the media, into the media. Okay, so what's the important is that because when the media cover it, sometimes it will help you to get to be known by people, and then certainly the industry or other can, for example, buy your research result. So when you have a patent, or yes, you have a patent or something like that, or a new product developed, then it can be distributed to the market, and also maybe you can also get royalties, and that's also important. So I also try other things. I believe you also did the same, that I give some trainings because my background is mostly I'm doing coffee. So I did coffee, and then also launched the book in the coffee festival. And then I currently arranging for the IG live and then seminar on coffee topics with the colleagues and friends from the coffee community with similar interests. But yeah, well, let's see what happens in the next future. This is a plan for the live IG and the certain topics seminar kind of webinar. So yeah, the message that I would like you to bring home here from what I have shared is that to be visible and to improve network, what we can do first is that raising our profiles and keep it updated, and then disseminating research through conferences and publishing articles in reputable journals, magazines, books, newspapers, and then you have news cover, press, TV, and then publishing to social media. And yeah, that's finally it's yours to choose, because there are some options available. So you choose which one that is suitable to you. And I guess that's the end of my story, the end of the talk. And thank you. Terima kasih. Thank you, Dr. Farida. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Wenny. Thank you very much for sharing with us. Very informative, very attractive presentation content with much of statistics that I would love to see, especially about statistic on internet users. Is very enlightening for us. Now I will open for Q&A session. I think we can only take only one question because we are running out of time. So if there is any question,
okay, please.
We can only take one question for the moment.
Yes. Okay,
Well,
thank you, Dr. Farida.
Yeah, raising researchers' profile is very important, right? To raise our profile through the basic tools such as improving our visibility through Publons, LinkedIn, or Google Scholar. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Wenny.
Thank you.
I think you may stop turn off your presentation.
Okay, so
As
there's no question so far?
I think so far no question.
Okay, if there is any questions, you will feel free to email me or maybe to Dr. Farida, is it? Okay, Dr.
Yes,
Farida? So,
yes.
yes, you can pass it to me. And sorry once again about the technical issues, Dr. Kavi and
No
everyone here.
No problem.
The
No
one that
problem.
we are
Thank you
not
very much for
expecting.
joining
Yes,
us.
thank you
Thank you
so
very much
much.
for accepting our
Yes,
invitation.
thank you.
All right. So for those
Assalamualaikum
who
warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam.
wabarakatuh.
For those who have any question, you may email to us later on. Okay. So now we move to session 4, okay, of the workshop. In this session, our guest speaker is Dr. Kavirajaa Pandian from University Teknologi Mara Negeri Sembilan. So Dr. Kavirajaa is going to share his presentation with the title of Scopus and Web of Science, WOS in a nutshell. A brief about Dr. Kavirajaa. Dr. Kavirajaa Pandian is currently our own JOA's chief editor. He is also a senior lecturer in the School of Chemistry and Environment, Faculty of Applied Science, University Teknologi Mara Negeri Sembilan of Kuala Pilah campus. He is well known for his research and collaborations in the field of chemistry and applied science. He is also a grant holder for a number of national research grants awarded by both the university and also the ministry. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we are now, please welcome our chief editor, Dr. Kavirajaa Pandian, to deliver his presentation. So Dr. Kavi, the floor is now yours.
Thank you, Dr. Farida. So, hi everyone. So first of all, I would like to thank everyone for your participation and also our rector, Professor Dr. Yamin Yassin, our Deputy Rector of Research and Industrial Linkage, Dr. Nuli Samad, Deputy Rector of Academic Affairs, Associate Professor Dr. Abdul Halim, and then Deputy Rector of Student Affairs, Mr. Mohammad Zulhilmi, and also all the KPPs of our branches. Yep. So today I'm the chief editor. So I will share my slide first. Is there? Can you see my slides, Dr. Farida?
Not yet. Not yet. Still not yet appear, Dr. Kavi.
Okay, I try to share my entire screen.
All right.
Um,
Yeah, it's now. Yeah, starting now.
can see my slides now?
Yeah, right. Can.
Okay. Right. Okay, before I begin my talk, I would like to give a very brief short note. Thanks for everyone for watching our live event. But I believe that live streaming only was like working for the staffs with UiTM email address. So later on after this event, we will have the recorded version where we'll upload in the YouTube. So probably you can invite your colleagues from your home countries to watch the full event. Right. So we'll make it a slideshow. You can see my slides. I mean, like, is it moving?
Has it turned into slideshow? Yes.
Yes, doctor.
Yes.
But is it moving? Okay, let me just.
Yeah, hide that one. Can you turn it on? We can't see any movement right now. It's just stuck in the first, the biodata page, biodata slides.
Okay, okay, hold on, hang on. It's moving slowly. Is it moving now?
Yes, moving.
The slides? Right. So a very brief introduction about myself. I graduated from University of Malaya in the field of polymer chemistry, and after that I went to Japan. Sorry, I think is my slide still available there?
No.
Okay, sorry. My slide like just got shut down. I have to open my slides again.
Or is it auto minimize or auto shutdown?
Okay, sorry, I have to.
No problem, doctor. Just take your time. Dr. Kavi, your connection is stuck, I think. Can you hear me?
Sorry, my PowerPoint now it's like initiating. Just give me a second.
Okay, so Dr. Kavi, we were still waiting for you to restart your PowerPoint slides, no problem. So for other participants, I would like to request you all to fill up the attendance link that is provided in the chat box on the left side of your screen. Okay, this is for UiTM staff. Okay, I will forward again the link for attendance record. Okay, you may start to fill for the participant. You may start to fill in the attendance for attendance record and evaluation form. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ima Iliani. I will forward the comments regarding the second question for the typo error.
So can you see my slides now?
Yes.
Okay. Right. So I think
Okay, yeah.
I've taken some time, so I'll just skip my biodata. Right. So here, today I'll be presenting on the Scopus and Web of Science in a nutshell. So the main idea that I've got to present about this is basically because when I talk with some lecturers, so with my colleagues and so on, many have the confusion between journal metrics and also what are the things that we can be assessed through these two databases, which is Scopus and Web of Science. And I believe these two databases are one of the, they are the largest databases and also widely accepted for all around the world and so on. So for today's topic, first I will be talking on the overview of the journal database, and then we'll be going into the Web of Science. I will talk about the categories and also master journal list, journal impact factor, eigenfactors, which is like seldom we hear about that. So I will discuss about that, how it will be calculated and so on. The next part will be talking on the Scopus, their coverage, and what are the metrics that can be found, and also I will slightly discuss about the H index, which can be found from Web of Science and also Scopus, and summary. Okay, so this is the overview of journal database. So basically, all of us are researchers, so I'm sure that all of us must be writing papers, we are publishing and so on. So as a author, what we will do is our responsibility would be to, conduct the research, to write a paper, and then we will submit it to a particular target journal. And then the journal's role would be they will check first whether your article matches with your aim and scope or not. They will ensure that all the qualities are okay or not. If let's say they find it suitable, they will send it for the review process. Then after the review, we will respond and so on. Then done. Okay, after that, journal will publish the accepted version. So here comes the publisher. So basically, what does the publisher do? They normally support the journals with their technology, such as we have Scholar One, Editorial Manager, all this stuff we provided by the publishers to the journals so that they can use the online platform system. Okay, and also publishers normally will get subscribed by the libraries all around the world. So that's how they improve the visibility of that particular journals and so on. And the indexer, so indexer actually will come between journal and the publisher. Because in the indexer's role, the indexing companies, we have PubMed, Web of Science, Google Scholar, Scopus. There are many types of indexing companies out there, but among them, the well-known are the Web of Science and Scopus, obviously. All right. So journal will submit their paper to the indexing companies, and then indexing companies, they will index. That means they only contain the title, abstract, author's information, and also they will conduct the scientometric analysis regarding that particular journal and also the papers. Okay, so that's what we will see in detail later on. Okay, just for a brief introduction about Web of Science. Formerly, it was known as Web of Knowledge, managed by Institute for Scientific Information. So that's where we got the term ISI. So last time we used to use the term called ISI papers, but we don't have that term anymore, even though some of us are still using. But it's like later I will explain again. So ISI, where does it went and so on. Okay. After that, after the Web of Knowledge, it was the whole thing was taken over by Clarivate Analytics. So now they are the one, or the official partner of Web of Science, where they are doing all this scientometric analysis. When we look at the contents of Web of Science, they have roughly about 50,000 scholarly books, 20,000 journals, 160,000 conference proceedings. So these are the contents. And when we go into the coverage, so for the coverage, this is the important part. They have 4 different categories under the Web of Science. Okay, so here we have Science Citation Index Expanded, which is SCIE, Social Science Citation Index, SSCI, Arts and Humanities Citation Index. The last one, Emerging Sources Citation Index. So ESCI is the something latest which has been launched by the Web of Science. They launched this somewhere in 2015. Okay, apart from ESCI, the other 3 categories, SCIE, SSCI, and AHCI, their medium will be used normally to generate the general impact factor, eigenfactor, their citation index, and also some other scores, whichever is relevant for their performance. Okay, now, I will talk more about the ESCI in a while. Okay, where do we find this Web of Science Index journal? One of the most easiest platform would be the Master Journal List. So this is a free platform. You can just Google this Master Journal List, and then you can go here. So here I've given one of the example here. I try to search on the Journal of Metals, Materials and Minerals. All right, so when we type if let's say it has been indexed by Web of Science, then it will automatically appear there. So we just click and then we can see some basic information about this journal. Okay, here we can see it's a free platform which contains Web of Science core collection. So core collection means all the 4 categories that I mentioned earlier, which is SCIE, SSCI, HCI, and ESCI. Okay, now something about ESCI. Basically, they are, if let's say the journal has been like indexed by Web of Science, okay, but they got the category called ESCI, like this journal over here, the one that I displayed, Journal of Metals, Materials and Minerals. We can see at the bottom part there, Web of Science core collection, ESCI. That means they are considered as a waiting list. Okay, so last time we had the term ISI. So ISI is normally journals with impact factor and quartile ranking and so on. But here they came out with the waiting list ranking, which will be known as the ESCI. It means that they also indexed by Web of Science, just that they don't have impact factor or Q. Okay, you can't find those informations. And last time, just by accessing through this master journal list, if you scroll down, you will have a button where you can log in by using a personal email or Facebook ID. You can check their quartile and so on. But I'm not sure. Recently, I tried to check in that way, but for some of the journals, like almost all the journals that I've searched, I couldn't find a quartile. So another option that we can check in the very detailed metrics about these journals, we have to go through the journal citation report. Okay, now this JCR, okay, short form JCR, journal citation report, it must be accessed through your university subscription. Without the university subscription, we cannot access this information. It's not like SCOPUS. Many of the things in SCOPUS, we can access that freely. It's freely available. But for the Web of Science, we have to access through our university subscription. So here, what does it cover under the journal citation report? So normally it contains all the articles of journals which has been indexed at the SCIE, Arts and Humanities, the AHCI, and also the Social Science Citation Index. And also they will give you the information on the impact factor, their ranking, the quantile, and so on. Okay, now here I've given 2 images. One is after we log in, okay, Web of Science, we go to the journal citation report. You can see here the first picture there, not indexed in these 3 categories. So that's why when I put that Journal of Metal, Materials and Minerals, it will appear to be no results found. Why? Because it haven't gone into the 3 categories yet. The journal is still at the waiting list, okay, but still indexed by Web of Science. The next example here, the second picture, I simply type in Journal of Social, so it will give you a variety of options. So whichever journal that you're interested, you can just click, you can check their profiles and so on. Okay, now we move to the most famous term, impact factor. Okay, first of all, we see how this impact factor is being calculated. So journal impact factor for a particular year X, right? The formula is number of citations to that journal X in the past 2 years divided by the number of total citable items that has been deposited in the journal for the past 2 years as well. Okay, so I will try to zoom and show. Okay, so this one I took one of the example, Journal of Cleaner Production. So this is a multidisciplinary journal within the science and technology field. We can find that the impact factor has been calculated for the year 2018. Okay, we haven't got the official 2019 one yet, but we have the 2018 impact factor is 6.395. And how it's being calculated? Basically from the 2 years plus 2017 divided by total number of journals has been published in this 2 years, 2016 to 2017. Okay. Then apart from that, you also can find other informations. For example, here, this is all these things will be visible through the JCRM, Journal Citation Report. So we also can find the subject category. So because you see each journal, their name could be broad, but they have a very specific scope of their own subject. So we also can see in terms of the subject field, how are these journals are performing. Okay, so that one also can be found, that matrix here. So that is about journal impact factor. Okay, the next one, eigenfactor. So eigenfactor is basic. We seldom use this. Okay, probably this will be useful if, let's say, we have got a very novel research. For example, okay, we have found something very interesting. So we wanted to find the right audience. So that means we have to go for the right subject that will be provided by a particular journal. Okay, so basically, eigenfactor will give us a measure of the journal's total importance in the scientific community, and also highly cited journals will influence the network more than the lesser cited journals, and they have a calculation based on 5 years time frame. And the last point here, the B sign over here, eigenfactor scores are scaled so that sum of the eigenfactor scores of all journals in JCR is 100. Imagine if, let's say, JCR contains 20,000 journals, so all of them will have their own specific number, and the number when we sum up, it will be 100. So as an example, you can see here, this is journal of cleaner production. I have put this screenshot here. The eigenfactor score is 0.08370 only for the 2018. Okay, but if, let's say, we compare with the well-known journal Nature, the eigenfactor is 1.284. So even though the impact factor of the Nature is 43, but the eigenfactor is just 1.28. Why? Because we have to sum up all the journals to get the 100 score. Okay, so that is about, basically, eigenfactor gives you the importance. Okay, and then, okay, this is another famous term that we normally hear, okay, Q, quartile ranking. So we have only 4 types of Q: Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. So what is Q1? It depends on the impact factor distribution of the journal in a particular field, subject field. Okay, quartile. Sometimes we used to think that the quartile represent the overall quality of the journal, but in my opinion, okay, this is maybe in my opinion, I just feel like this Q will give you an idea about the particular subject that carried by the journal. Okay, so let's see first how this Q1, Q2. Okay, Q1 is basically the top 25% of impact factor distribution. Meanwhile, Q2 would be between 50 to 25% of impact factor distribution. Q3 would be between 75 to 50% of impact factor distribution. Meanwhile, the Q4 would be the bottom. Okay, the bottom, the less cited, that citation will go over there. So here I've taken the example of census, okay, the general census, which published by publisher MDPI, one of the open access publisher. Okay, we can see this is just one journal, but this one journal got 3 different subject categories: analytical chemistry, electrochemistry, instruments, and instrumentation. So when we talk about the Q, we can see here for the year 2018, for the field of analytical chemistry and electrochemistry, this journal is Q2. But if, let's say, our subject area that we are going to publish, okay, if, let's say, it falls in the instruments and instrumentation, then obviously this is Q1. So we have to know that. Okay, so we can say that, okay, the journal we are publishing Q1, Q2, but we also need to, it's like good thing for us to like take note about the subject field, which got that particular Q. This example I've got it, but generally when you search journals, most of the time, if, let's say, one subject is Q1, the other subjects also will be Q1. Okay, so most of the time I used to see that. So that's why I particularly choose this journal, so that I can give you the difference in terms of the quartile. Okay, H index. So this is our international editor, Dr. Wenny, also did mention about this H index. So basically, this is one of the metric system which is provided by the Web of Science. So I'm touching about this part because talking overall about the Web of Science. It's a bibliometric indicator for a researcher to identify the productivity in terms of the number of articles that the researcher has published, and the impact will be calculated based on the number of citations. So we can look at one of the very simple example. This researcher's H index is 7. Why does he get H index of 7? If, let's say, he has 8 publications, okay, and his 7th publication got a citation more than 7 times, so that's why he got H index, which is 7. For him to attain H index 8, so his 8th publication, okay, the 8th publication must receive another 3 more citations, so that it will become 8, So his H index will be complete with the number 8. Okay, right. Now Web of Science, they have a beta version for the author profile, which I tried to log in, but like I couldn't sort it out. So it's like kind of difficult for me to find my H index in the Web of Science. So we have another platform, free platform, Publons. So Publons can be used. We can just sign up. Okay, the initial purpose of Publons is to appreciate the reviewers, but then they integrate with the Web of Science. Now Publons can display your H index. So you have to remember the H index displayed at the Publons basically extracted from your Web of Science. Okay, right. So we move to the next part, Scopus. So Scopus, this one I took it from their official website. They have like 5,000 over publishers, 75 million items, and so many things. So, but the important thing is their citation, their articles, everything dating back to 1970, which means Scopus is obviously the largest database. Okay, on the reliable databases, when we talk about that, Scopus is one of the largest database compared to the Web of Science. Okay, because Scopus, journals indexed by Scopus, many of the journals indexed by Web of Science also indexed by Scopus. But there are some scenario where journals sometimes indexed by Web of Science, but they haven't gone into the Scopus yet. We also have that scenario. Okay, but the circle of Scopus will be much more bigger compared to the Web of Science. Okay, now we were talking about impact factor just now. So that is for the Web of Science. When we talk about Scopus, the important thing is we should take note on the side score. Okay, so which behaves in a similar way as the impact factor, but there are some difference. So let's look at how it's being calculated. First of all, side score is basically number of citation to the journal X in the past 3 years divided by number of total citable items by the journal X in the past 3 years, which means the main difference is 3 years. Journal impact factor 2 years, but side score would be 3 years. Okay, so this is again the same journal of cleaner production. You can see over here the side score is 7.32. Let's do a very quick comparison. Okay, we can see 2018 according to the Web of Science impact factor, this is 6.395, but for the side score it's 7.32. The impact factor over here, okay, sorry, the side score for the journal of cleaner production over here is higher, probably because the time span that they have taken, which is like 3 years compared to the Web of Science. And another interesting part about Scopus, you also can have you can observe a live tracker, side score tracker, which will be updated normally monthly basis. Okay, for the 2019, yeah, side score is going to increase even more higher. Okay, for 2018 it was 7.32, but up to April, their side score was 8.46. So like like we have another half a year to go. So their side score might even go up to 9 or something. Okay, it still depends on the number of citations that they normally get and also the papers. Okay, besides side score, okay, we also have some of the information at the Scopus, which is freely available. So before I go there, you can see these are the subject areas. Okay, and look at the subject area. We have 4 different subject areas for the Journal of Cleaner Production. Okay, now on the right hand side, you can see the side score for the 2018 7.32. Apart from that, we also have Schimago Journal Ranking 1.62 and then SNP 2.308. So these are the other information that we can get it from Scopus. Okay, first we look at the SNP. SNP is basically a normalized assessment of journal impact. It provides more accurate impact on subject field. Okay, for the Web of Science, we had the thing called eigenfactor, which focuses on the impact of the subject. For the Scopus, the impact will be measured by this SNP score, and it has been developed by Leiden University Center for Science and Technology. Okay, so here this is the formula on how they calculate this SNP score. Then we go into the Schimago Journal Ranking. So this is also a free accessible platform. You can just Google this. They provide scientometric indicators for journals indexed in Scopus, and also they provide the quartile for the Scopus index journals. Okay. Okay, let's look at this one. Okay, SJR. So this is the formula. The average number of weighted citation in the receipt year divided by the number of documents published in the previous 3 years. So they're taking the number of documents for 3 years, but they just look at the a single year citation. So that's why SJR score normally will be lesser, okay, when we compare with the site score. All right. Okay, so when we, okay, I believe this is, yeah, Journal of Cleaner Production. Okay, so this is Journal of Cleaner Production. I try to zoom this part here. So we can see once we go into the Schimago journal ranking, we type the journal name. Okay, so it will show us the informations, so many informations, like even international collaborations, cited documents, total sites, self-sites. Okay, even the self-citation will be counted here, and also their performance in terms of the quarter. So here the green colors are the indicates the Q. Green colors are the Q1. The yellow color is the Q2, and the red color, if I'm not mistaken, red orange over here. If I'm not mistaken, this is Q3. Okay. So fortunately, Journal of Cleaner Production, for all these 4 subject field, this is Q1. So it also will mention an overall Q1 over here. Okay. Then we go for the H index, which will be this is H index of the researcher profiles. In Scopus, we also can find this H index. It calculated the same way. Okay, this picture over here calculated the same way exactly as the Web of Science. However, the citation will be taken from Scopus database only, which means that, you see, it's very common for us to have, okay, sometimes common, sometimes no. This is also my opinion. Okay, we can have a higher H index in Scopus profile, but in Web of Science H index, it might be a bit lower. Sometimes it will be the same, okay, depending on the citation. What is the reason? Because obviously Scopus largest database. So the possibility or the probability for you to get more citations within the Scopus database is higher. So that's why our H index tend to be even higher. So if, let's say, we go a bit out of the scope, for example, Google Scholar. If you check your Google Scholar H index, it will be even higher than Scopus. Why? Because Google Scholar covers even a more bigger database. Okay, but just that, like, Google Scholar, they just index almost anything. Okay, or not to say almost anything. If, let's say, you meet certain criteria, okay, but very minimum. Okay, so they can take it in and they will index your journal. Okay, so probably because of that, Google Scholar was like not really. I mean, like, we can also use the Google Scholar. There's nothing wrong in that. Okay, now we move to the how to search for the author profile. Basically, it's a free account with unique author ID. You can just go to the author search and key in the last name, first name, and then you can also find some information about the leading scientists in your research field. Okay, for example, here, this is one of the scientists. Basically, my field is on the conducting polymers, also the chemical sciences. So when I search through, I mean, like, I enter through my profile, and then I go through the subject, which can be found, okay, at the bottom part here, the page. You can find who is the researcher who have received like the highest number of citations. So basically, you can like follow, and also you can see what are their latest publications, how they are doing research, and so on. Okay, so all right, so summary. In terms of the coverage, okay, in my opinion, I would say that Scopus, obviously, they have a larger database because they are citing back to 1970 compared to the Web of Science. The general impact metric, the name, if, let's say, impact factor, that is for Web of Science. Scopus, we cannot compare with the impact factor, that is site score. And the impact calculation years for the Web of Science, just 2 years. For the Scopus, this is 3 years. And also the metric analyzer, who does that? For Web of Science, Clarivate Analytics. For the Scopus themselves. The interesting part is even the Elsevier, the publisher, the Scopus is Elsevier's product, okay? But Scopus kind of a company where they only hold the title, abstract. They don't have the full articles, but Elsevier, they have the full articles. So that is the main difference. And other metrics can be found from Web of Science and Scopus, like eigenfactor, and also there is SGR and state. Okay. However, both databases are globally recognized. So I hope, like, I've cracked the nutshell, like very basic things about Scopus and also Web of Science. I will. I'll stop my presentation.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you, Dr. Kavirajaa. Thank you very much for the very informative, very detailed explanation about several terms that some of us might quite new to new insight for us. And okay, I will now open for Q&A session. Okay, we have around a few minutes until we move on to next session. We're accepting around 1 or 2 questions only. Any questions? Or you may also type in the chat box if you got any question. Okay. Most of the participants say thank you to Dr. Kavi for the
Welcome.
informative presentation. Okay, Dr. Kavi, maybe for final remarks or closing remarks, if you would like to share any advice to us.
Probably because yeah, I didn't talk about that just now. We sometimes we are we wanted to publish in high impact factor papers, probably because we want to have higher visibility for our research. So that is the main idea. Okay, so it's good to we look at the impact factor, but at the same time we also must check whether journals really how they are distributing the visibility to the other authors and so on. Okay, so that's all maybe. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, maybe I was. Okay, now let's move on to our final sharing session for today's program. Our final sharing session for today is session 5 with our international guest speaker, Dr. Syed Shahabuddin from Pandit Dindayal Petroleum University, India. Dr. Syed is going to deliver his presentation entitled Polishing Your Article Before Publication. A brief about Dr. Syed Shahabuddin. He is currently the JOA's International Associate Editor. His current designation is the Assistant Professor with the Department of Science, School of Technology, Pandit Dindayal Petroleum University, India. He is also a member of Royal Society of Chemistry, RSC, United Kingdom, and is well known for his research and international collaborations in the field of chemistry. Without further ado, let us welcome Dr. Syed Shahabuddin to deliver his presentation. Dr. Syed, the session is now yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Farida, for your kind introduction. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning. Sorry, a good afternoon, because in India it is still early morning. So I would like to thank Dr. Professor Dr. Yamin Yassin, Rector UiTM, all the respected guests for giving me an opportunity to discuss some of my experience with all of the researchers. So as we have seen that we have already got some of the very nice talks by Dr. Siti, Sara, Ibrahim, by Dr. Ruhaida, by Dr. Wenny, and by Dr. Kavirajaa. So my main topic of this discussion will be for the early career researchers, those who are having a lot of data with them, or those who are doing experimental work with them, and they are stuck in between how they start writing their articles and where they must stop. So I will very basically present them what are the basic steps when they have to start writing a paper, and what are the things which an editor, the reviewers, looks into the journal. So with that, I just presentation. So I hope my presentation is visible. Dr. Farida?
Yes, it is clear, Doctor.
Okay, so the topic of my presentation is polishing your papers before submission. So this is a topic which is quite simple, but it is very important topic because most of us we have a very good data with us. We have a very good results with us, but we are unable to present it, or we are unable to write a good paper in an effective way. So I'll just going to discuss some of the few things. As an editor, what does an editor looks for in a manuscript? So you have to understand, so whenever you are submitting your paper to any journal, so first of all, the first person who will encounter your paper is an editor. So what are the main points which an editor looks in your manuscripts? First thing is the quality. So he will look at the quality of your paper, whether it is a good science, whether it is a well-planned study, whether well-executed study, whether it is a good written story or not. How do you have presented your paper? And then next thing, he will look at the significance and originality. So you must know that every of the journal have their own method to find out the originality of your work. So plagiarism and self-plagiarism is not allowed. So every journal have their own tools to detect the non-originality of your work. So they will look at the significance and originality of your work. And very important point, they will look whether your paper is consistent with the scope of journal or not. Sometimes we do not look at the scope of the journals. We just only look at the impact factors or whatever we look, and we just submit the papers. So it is very important for all of us before submitting to at least read for a while what is the scope of this journal and whether our paper falls within the scope of journals or not. And then next thing is, our paper should not be very limited. It should not have very limited readership. So it should be something like which can be, if you are writing from chemistry background, so your paper is also related to the people's from physics background or from materials background and so on. So your paper should demonstrate a broad interest to readership. And then important thing is, will it cite? So all these things will depend upon the quality, significance, consistent and broad readership of your papers. And is it a well-written story or not? So it is very important that your paper should be a well-written story. Every part which you are writing in your paper, whether it is materials and methods, whether it is results and discussions, it should be linked with the previous part. So the story should be very well written. So there must not be that you should start all of the sudden from between without having any link with the previous sections which you are writing. So every of your section must be linked with each other, and it must be enhancing each and every section. So we have organized a workshop with some international editors of Elsevier. So we got to know what is the problems that international editors always face. So the following problems appears too much and too frequently. Submission of papers which are clearly out of scope. So first thing, when you are submitting the papers, the editor will look at the scope by reading your abstract, and if it is out of scope, they will immediately do a text rejection. Failure to format the papers according to the guides for the author. So this is a very important thing that sometimes we are just submitting to a journal and we are not reading guide to the authors. So it is very important for every one of us to read what are the guidelines for the authors, and does the journal ask us to format a paper in that form? Because sometimes our paper is very good, but we do not follow the proper guidelines and we submit it. So when the first impression to the editor goes that this author is very careless, he even didn't bother to read the guide for the authors and he's submitting the papers. So the first impression is the last impression, and then you simply got a desk rejection even without editor going through your paper. Inappropriate suggested reviewers. So you should always know that while submitting a paper, you have to suggest some of the reviewers. Sometimes what we do, we suggest the reviewers which are known to us. So again, you should know that there are tools with the editors. With their tools, he can know whether the reviewer has a joint collaboration with you, joint publication with you. Is he from the same country as you, or is he having the same university as you? So if he found these things, so he will find that you are not a truthful author. You are doing some of the things and you are giving the name of the reviewer who are known to you. And this again will give a bad impression to the editor, and therefore the editors may reject your paper without reading it. So you have to suggest appropriate reviewers who are unknown to you. Inadequate response to the reviewer, and sometimes when even we got the paper has been got to the review process and the reviewer has given our comments on the papers, and we are not able to respond properly to the reviewer. So this is one of the biggest reason for the rejection of the papers. Inadequate standard of English. So you have to keep in mind that you have to use an standard English, either American style or UK style. You cannot mix both of them, and you have to keep the grammar strictly. You have to use the grammar, and you have to check whether you are using past tense or whether you are using present tense. Where you have to use past, where you have to use present, you should be very, very clear about that. Resubmission of rejected manuscript without revision. So sometimes what we do, for example, in Elsevier, as Dr. Kavi has just explained, that they are having 26,000 journals or so on. So the publisher is same, but the journals are different. And if we have got rejected from one journal, what we do, we overlook the comments given by them. We don't do any change in the manuscript, and we submit it to the next journal. And we don't know that we are submitting to a journal which belongs to the same publisher. Then again, they are the tools that they will know that this paper was submitted before to this journal, and these were the comments given by editor, and then they will find that there is no change in the manuscript and it is resubmitted as it is. Again, it is the biggest cause of your rejection. So these are the important points which has been discussed by Dr. Paul Haddad. He is the editor journal of Chromatography A, which is a very renowned journal. So you should keep all these points in your mind when your paper is being rejected. So it should, there must be one of the reasons from among all these reasons which are listed here. Now let us discuss about writing the paper. So as a researcher, as a student, we have worked in a laboratory. We have a lot of data with us. Now the main point is we have to convert that data into a manuscript, and the manuscript must be a well-written story, as I have already discussed. A well-written story is a story in which every section is related to every section. Every part of your paper must be related to every other part of your paper. There must be relevance between each and every section. So how should we start writing the paper, and what are the key points which we should keep in our mind? First thing is the strong introduction. So introduction is a very, very important part of your paper. It is the only part where you can engage the reader, and it is the part where you can set the scene, you can explain why your work is important, and you can state the aim of the study. So in introduction, some of us, we don't take introduction very seriously. We just put some of the references and just no. In the introduction part, you have to explain why your work is important, and before explaining why your work is important, you have to set the scene. For setting that scene, that you have to discuss the previous work, and then you have to state your aim of your study. So it is a very important thing. Clear, logically organized, complete methods. So your method section part is also a very, very important part of your paper. Sometimes we overlook the method part. We give the methods such that if we want to repeat the experiment, we cannot repeat that experiment. So your method part should be so clear and concise that they should provide enough information to allow assessment of results. And then you should ask a question to yourself: could someone else repeat the study by your methods which you have given? If somebody else want to repeat the study, can he do that or not? If your answer is no, then again you have to go back to the method. You have to again organize them clearly and logically. Results. So results is another important part, and it is of course the main part of your papers. You have to be very clear and very concise. You have to avoid repetition between text, tables and figures. Sometimes what we are writing in one section, we are just repeating it in another section. So we should know that the reviewers are there to review the papers, and they are reading your papers. So they can find out the repetition of the text, tables and figures. You have to avoid that. Discussion. So relevant discussions. Now you have your results, whatever you have got, you are writing about that. Now based upon that result, you have to discuss what are these results. So you have to start very strongly. Then you have given some aims in your introduction part. As I explained in introduction part, you have to write the aim of your study. Then in your discussion part, you have to tell whether you are able to achieve that aim or not. you have to discuss the significance and implications of your results. So discussion and results are two very different things. Some of us can also write results and discussions together, that is allowed. But first thing is the results. First thing is you have to explain what you have obtained from your study, the work which you have done, what thing did you find out? Okay, I find out this. Then what is the relevant of this work, these results? Then you have to discuss that result. And then you have to tell that based upon these results, you are able to achieve your aims or not. Okay, so now because we are not having much time, so I have to be very fast. So let us come to the main aim of this paper, main aim of this presentation, sorry, which is polishing your article before submission. So polishing the article is very, very important. We have a lot of data, we have very good results, we have good discussion. Okay, but main thing is to present. You can see we are having a lot of advertisement companies. On your TV Tiga or TV Dua, you are seeing a lot of ads always. What they are doing, they are presenting their products in such a way that you are attracted towards that. So everyone has a strategy to polish their products before presenting that. Same things goes with the researcher. You have got your results, you have got your everything, so you need to polish it. You need to present it in such a way that it should attract the editor, it should attract the reviewer, it should attract the readers. If you are not polishing your article, if you are not making your article very nicely presented, it is very difficult for the editor to accept it, because every day editor is facing almost more than 500 to 600 manuscripts in the good journals. So they have to decide. So they decide based upon the presentation of your work. So how shall we start for writing a paper? So first thing for writing a paper is when you have all the results with you, you have completed your studies, your experimental part is done. Now you want to write a paper. So how should you start? So first and the foremost thing which you should remember it, you have to make an appropriate outline of the paper. Until and unless you make an appropriate outline of your paper, it is very, very difficult for you to know where to start your paper and where to finish your paper. Because this is the biggest problem which is faced by every research student, that how to write a paper, where to start a paper, where to end a paper. So who is going to tell you where you have to start writing and where you have to stop writing, how much you have to write? So nobody is going to tell you this, it is you who have to do this. So you have to make an appropriate outlines of the paper. First of all, decide the title of the paper. What shall be the title of your paper? Decide the journal where you are targeting to submit. Okay, everybody has some targeted journals. So tentatively 1 or 2 journals everybody targets. So you have to target a journal where you want to submit your paper. And then next step is you see the few papers which have already published in that journals. Just download 3 to 4 papers which have already been recently published in that journals. And based upon those papers which you have downloaded from that journal, make a rough outline as per the journal format, because some of the journals they have a format like they have introduction, abstract, introductions, materials and methods, then they have result, then they have separate discussions. But some of the journals they follow results and discussions as one. So you have to see the format of the journals, and as per the format try to make your rough outlines. And then another important thing is you have to analyze the amount of word used under each subheading in already published papers. So the papers which are relevant to you, which you have downloaded, just check how many words they are describing each subheading. For example, results and discussions on morphological analysis, or say FTIR, or say from management science, any of the thing. So just see under that subheading, those 2 or 3 papers, approximately how many words they are using to describe that thing. So this will give you an idea of how much you have to write. Then make your own comprehensive outlines with number of words dedicated to each section. Okay, so first outlines and then dedicate number of words to each section of your work. So now I'm going to explain you by giving a real example of my own work. So let us see how we can make an appropriate outline. Dr. Farida, please help me to know whether the document is visible once it is open.
Okay, I think it's loading now.
Yes.
It's loading.
Is it visible
Yeah.
now?
Yes, already visible.
Okay, so as I've
Also
already,
good. Yeah.
okay, thank you so much, Dr. Farida. Okay, so as I've already discussed to you, the first step is you have to give the title of your paper, just any tentative title. So the title is already here. So just the title of the paper, whatever it is. Then first thing is the abstract. So what I discussed with you that I have downloaded 4 or 5 papers from the journals which I'm targeting. So from that journal, I have copy and paste the abstract and just check how many words they are using to write the abstract. So I have find that from those 4 or 5 papers, the abstract is usually 150 to 180 words. So I have to limit myself within this word limit, 150 to 180 words. Then next thing is the keywords. I have to write at least 5 keywords for my papers. Then next came to the introduction. So from those downloaded paper, I have come to a general idea that my introduction should be around 900 to 1000 words. Not less than this, not more than this. I have to limit it here. Then I have to write at least 4 paragraphs in my introduction, and the total number of reference which should be present in my introduction should be 35 to 40. So from where did I am getting this data? I'm getting this data from the papers which I have downloaded from the journal, and I'm analyzing that data. That from these 4 or 5 journals, I have come to this conclusion. So I will also follow the same thing. Now, paragraph 1. So what should be your paragraph 1? So paragraph 1, you, for example, I'm writing a paper on wastewater treatment, photocatalysis. So photocatalysis. So my first paragraph should be the journal introduction about water pollution. Or for example, you are writing a paper on, say, suppose you are writing a paper on antibiotics or antibacterial. So your first paragraph should be journal introduction of antibiotics or antibacterial whatsoever. So journal, first paragraph should be journal introduction about whatever you are writing. And then you can see the number of words. I have given it 180 to 200 words. I'm not going to go beyond this. My second paragraph, because I'm working on conducting polymer based nanocomposites. So in next paragraph, I'm going to introduce a term conducting polymers and then their role in only water treatment, because my work is related to wastewater treatment. So I'm not going to discuss conducting polymers for various other applications like sensors or any other thing. No, because I'm working on wastewater treatment. So I will tell the role of conducting polymers for wastewater treatment. I'm focused on my work. And then how many words? 250 to 300 words. Then third paragraph is, because I'm using some 2D materials like graphene and something. So third paragraph, I'm going to introduce the 2D material, graphene and all. And again, then I will limit my work to the material which I'm using. Like I'm using boron nitride. So I will funnel out my work to 2D boron nitride. And then only emphasizing on photocatalysis application, the work which I'm doing. So, and again, I will give it a timeline or a word limit to 250 to 300 words. And the last paragraph is what I have already discussed, that you have to discuss the aim of your work. What is your contribution? And what is the aim of your work? So by this way, I have make an outline, a comprehensive outline of my introduction, where I know that my number of words must be 900 to 1000. My reference should be 35 to 40. I should have 4 paragraphs each. Each paragraph should be each paragraph is having a word limit. So who is giving these word limits? It's me who is defining it. Nobody else is defining, but I'm defining it myself. Next part is the experimental section. Again, materials and methods, preparation of the material, preparation of your composites and characterization techniques, and your degradation studies, whatever you are doing. This is just an example. Again, you see I'm giving a word limit to every subheadings. Materials and methods, I'm going to write in 100 to 150 words, preparation of these in these words, this, and so on. Again, each subheading, I'm dividing my experimental work into subheadings, and each subheading I'm giving a word limit. Then comes the results and discussion. Again, because you know what you have done, you know what results you have. For example, you have FE, SEM, if you are from science background, if you have done FE, SEM, you have done thermal analysis like TGA, you have done XRD, you have done FTIR, just write down that only in the form of subheadings. So your result in discussions like FESEM, thermal analysis, XRD, FTIR, and so on. Again, you are giving a word limit to every of the section. I'm going to write this only within these word limits. And from where I'm getting these word limits, again, the papers which I have downloaded, the relevant papers which I have downloaded, I'm getting this data from those papers. And then my photo quality degradation, again, I'm dividing it into 4 paragraphs of 500 words each. Then I will also do a comparison of my work. And again, in that comparison, I will make a table with 10 references for comparison. And again, should be 100 to 150 words. Then I'm also going to do the usability studies and so on. So if you see, I have divided all my paper and then conclusion 100 to 150 words, acknowledgement. So if you see, I have divided entire of my paper. So if you see, and if you see it, although it is looking very simple, but believe me, you have done almost 50% of your paper writing by only doing this thing. If you have made this comprehensive outline, believe me, you have done 50% of your work. Now only you have to do a fill in the blanks. So if you see the data, there are total 18 subheadings in this paper. And if each day, if you can write only one subheading, which is equal to 250 to 300 words, which is not very difficult for anyone to write, whether he is a new researcher or whether he is an old researcher, you can finish your paper in approximately 18 to 20 days. So it's easy, right? So the main thing is you have to make your outlines, and then you have to make the comprehensive outlines and give the number of words to each. Okay, now let us see. So I have made the outlines. So now let us check what happened next to these outlines. Dr. Farida, is it visible document?
Yes, Dr. Visible. Yes,
Okay,
it is clear now.
Yeah, so now see, my abstract is ready. So if you see the number of words in my abstract, it is 167. I have given the target of 150 to 180. So I'm following whose guidelines? No one else guidelines. I have made my own guidelines and I'm following my own guidelines. I'm my own boss. Nobody is dictating me. Nobody is telling me what to write, how much to write, but I'm telling myself what I have to write and how much I have to write. Then you see, I have divided my introduction into 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph, again, you see, is the introduction of the wastewater treatment only. And see the number of words I have given 250 to 300 words. It's approximately 321 words because it is also counting the referencing. Then again, next paragraph, as I told you, I was writing an introduction of conducting polymers. Again, you see the number of words. They are not exceeding 291 words. So the motive of this talk is that I have made a simple outlines and then I am following the outlines and I am filling the blanks by those outlines. So if you see, I have given a target of 35 to 40 references, see 38 references. So I know how much I have to write. I know how much reference I have to put. I know what I have to write. Everything I know. The main thing is just I have to start writing. And 1 paragraph each day and I can finish my paper in 18 days. And the last paragraph is always, it should be your contribution. What you are doing. Why your work is significance. So lastly, you describe about that. Okay, so next we move to materials and methods. Again, you see I'm following my own outlines and I'm following whatever I have written. So I'm just writing simply and following my own outlines. And then I reach to the results and discussions, morphological analysis, whatever I have written, I'm following that. So I'm not going beyond that. I have, by using this and by doing this, believe me, I have completed this paper because the simple one, you can see this table. I have told I will discuss 10 references. So I have discussed 10 references. It is not very difficult for me to find 10 references on photocatalysis. Very easily I can find. Okay, so I have written this paper in, if you believe, in just 7 days. Because I was writing very fast. Because I have some target to achieve and I have to submit a paper for some of my promotion or anything. So I was writing very fast. So if you can also write at least 2 paragraphs each day, then you can reduce your time from 18 days to 9 days. So some of the students say that writing a paper is very difficult for me. I cannot write, I don't know how to write. It takes me 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. I don't understand why they say like this. So if they follow my simple format or my simple idea, they can write the paper in less than a month. Okay, so let us continue. Dr. Farida, please also remind me of the time because when I'm giving a talk, I usually don't focus on the time. So it will be a bit appropriate. Yeah, if you...
Yeah, You have around around 1 to 2 minutes.
Sorry, only 2 minutes. Hello? Hello? Dr. Farida, can you listen me? Hello? Dr. Farida?
Dr. Said, I think you can continue first, Dr. Said. We will remind you again.
Okay. Okay, so after you have made the appropriate outlines of your paper and after you have done this, you have written everything. Now next come the figures and captions. So figures and captions are again very important part of your paper. So figure and captions are the most attractive part of the paper. You should remember this point. And acceptance rate of the paper is directly proportional to the quality and quantity of your figures. So this is a proverb based upon my experience. So I have an experience of writing almost 50 research articles. So from those 50 research articles, if I take out the conclusion from that, I have find out that the acceptance rate of my paper was very, very dependent on the quality and quantity of the figures which I'm using. So another thing is you must always have the raw data for your figures so that you can replot or redraw all your figures. You should avoid cut paste figures from PDF reports. For example, like we do FTIR, we get PDF report and we just cut and paste into the paper. We should avoid that. And all the data in the figure must be editable. So preparing, first thing is you have to process the raw data redraw the graph using Excel or Origin, then prepare the file in PPT. So first raw data, then from raw data go to Excel or Origin, then from Origin or Excel goes to PowerPoint, where all the figures must be embedded in a single file. And from then PowerPoint, you go to the prepare a Word file that have all the figures and captions sequentially. So let me show you an example very, very fast because I think I don't have much time. So this is the figures which we have obtained. So you can see all the figures here are editable. I can edit all the figures here. So this is the way to arrange your figures, and by arranging your figures in this way, you can see better and clear way of presentations of your data. So all your data, all your figures are here and they are editable. So what do we mean by editable? So for example, if you see this figure, if I just click on this figure, so it should be open in the software where I upload this data. And from there, I can, if I find any mistake in this figure or anything or any formatting I need to do, I can do it very, very easily. Okay, so this is again open. So now from here, I can do anything. I can change it. I can do whatever I want. And if you see, all my figure has been start changing here. So this is a very important thing, that all of your data, after you replot it, you should put it in your PowerPoint, and in your PowerPoint, every of your figures should be editable. You should edit each and every part in your figures. So you arrange the data sequentially, what you are going to present in the paper. Once you have done this thing, the next job is from PowerPoint, you have to make another file which is called as figures and captions. So, Dr. Farida, is it visible, my file?
Yes, it is clear now.
Okay, so the next step, yeah, thank you. So once you have drawn all your data from your raw data, you have processed all your figures, then you have put in PowerPoint, and then from the PowerPoint you make another file which is called as figures and captions. So here you see none of the figure is editable. Whatever you have written, nobody can edit that. So these are non-editable figures, but these are placed very sequentially, and these are just copied from the PowerPoint and pasted here. So you can see how nicely they are arranged with captions and everything. So this thing is very important for you to do. So what is the advantages of having these kinds of file? So one advantage which I tell you is, if you are having this presentation file, whenever you want to do a presentation, whether it is your CD, whether it is your conferences, whether it is your Viva, whether it is everything, you have already a PowerPoint presentation of all of your figures. Just you have to take the figures from there, copy and paste in your presentations. So forever, wherever you want to present, you have already make a very nice file, and it will always be with you. Whether you are writing a thesis or a paper, it will be very useful to you. So now let us see the outcome of these results which we have seen, like what outlines we have made, what figures and captions we have made. And now if you see, so this is a paper which I have written in almost 1 week based upon making the outlines which I have discussed with you. After discussing and I have submitted this paper in Arabian Journal of Chemistry. It was a Q1 journal at that time with impact factor of 4.5. So you see all the data, the way I have written, as it is here. So you see the editor has made no change because it was arranged very nicely. The figures were appropriate, the presentation was very nice, and everything was arranged sequentially, and every of the section, if you see, they are relevant to the previous section. So this is what I need to explain to you. And once you do such hard work, sometimes you get the benefit and reward for that too. So if you see what benefit and reward I get for doing this hard work, you see this paper was received on 8th May 2018, and it was accepted on next day. On 7th May, I submit this paper, and this paper was accepted on 8th May. The reason, because the editor was from the same field as I am, so he has gone through the paper, he has read the paper, and he find it very logical, and everything was very arranged. So immediately we got the acceptance for that paper. If we work hard on the paper initially, we will get, we have not to work hard on it in later stages. So the next thing is preparing a graphical abstract. So graphical abstract is the summary of your work in form of single picture. So whatever work you have done, you have to summarize that work in a single picture. So most of the readers select the papers for reading based upon the graphical abstract. So whenever we want to download a paper, we will see the graphical abstract. If it is very attractive, of course, we will get attracted to the paper. And when I get attracted to the paper, it will get a citation. So put some time and effort to draw the graphical abstract, draw your own idea. And drawing graphical abstract is very easy. You can use PowerPoint or Paint to draw the graphical abstract. So this is the graphical abstract which I have drawn by myself, and another graphical abstract. So this is some. So if you look at this graphical abstract, so is it too difficult to make an effective graphical abstract? So the answer is definitely no. All you need is dedication and idea and quality time. So let's have a quick look on the graphical abstracts. So a very, very quick look I want to give you that how did I draw these graphical abstract. I didn't use very sophisticated tools. I didn't use very sophisticated softwares. I just simply use PowerPoint presentation. And this is the PowerPoint presentation I'm using, and I'm just putting my ideas, what is there. So you see every of the figure I'm using just simple PowerPoint tools. I'm not using any specific tools or anything. The main thing is the idea, and then you can just simply use PowerPoint to draw your ideas into some of the pictorial representation, and you can represent it pictorially by just using simple PowerPoint. So PowerPoint is again a very strong tool for you to make your figures and captions and make your graphical abstract. So you should have a little bit command over PowerPoint. So then it is a summary of the writing for successful publications. What does it mean? Having a well-designed original study to write about, selecting an appropriate outlet or journal, knowing what you want to write very clearly, make the story very, very interesting, highlight the significance of result, and respond carefully and positively to the referee's report. So this was all from me. So if you have any questions or any doubts, you can ask me. And if due to the lack of time, we don't have much time, you can always contact me through my email, and you can ask me about your doubts. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Said. Thank you for a very comprehensive presentation, very attractive slides. I think we have gained so much valuable information, especially about how to polish, how to outline our in writing our an effective research paper. Okay, it's a very nice presentation. Now I would like to open for Q&A session. Okay, So I would welcome maybe 1 or 2 questions because we are running out of time. Okay, if you have
Yes.
any question, or maybe as a closing remarks, Dr. Said, you may share with us or advice. Do you have any advice for us?
Yeah, actually, so my advice to everyone is that, as I have already discussed, because do not take writing a paper as a very big task. Just enjoy writing it. Consider yourself as an author, or just you're writing a story. You're a storyteller. You're a scientific storyteller. You're writing a scientific story about the work, about the journey of your work. So the research paper is nothing but it is the journey of our work, what we have done, and that we have to write it very effectively. And to start it very effectively, my only suggestion to everyone is that everyone should first of all work on the appropriate outlines. If you don't make your outlines, believe me, the paper which you can write in 10 to 15 days, it will take you more than 1 month or 2 months, and then it will also not be very comprehensive. So always be your own boss, make your own outlines, and always please keep mind that your figures are very important part of your papers. Don't neglect that. Don't try to avoid or don't try to cut paste the figures. Just give a little bit effort on those figures. Just give a little bit effort on them, and believe me, whenever you work hard on your paper and figures and captions, they will always be helpful to you through entire of your research journey. Even now, this work which I have done during my PhD, I'm still using those works for my presentations. And whenever I want to search them, I go to that paper file and I find a PowerPoint always present there. So it is very useful for all of us. And I hope if anybody has any doubt or any question, they can always open to write me, and through our collaborators like Dr. Kavi and Dr. Noratika. Actually, I have been having a quite good relations with UiTM Kuala Pila, and I have already visited Kuala Pila once. And since 2013, I am attached with Kuala Pila, UiTM Kuala Pila, not directly but indirectly through Dr. Kavi and through Dr. Atika. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to interact with so many people.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Said, for the advices, and also for the sharing session. So from the presentation delivered by Dr. Said, I believe that we have learned a lot of new things, and of course, I hope it would bring more advantage to us to polish our research articles before getting them to be published. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for still staying in. I hope that you'll be stay tuned. Okay, as we have another 2 more agendas to come. Okay, our next agenda. Okay, with the end of session 5, we are now moving to the next session. The next session would be the soft launching of JOA's new website. Okay, to mark this event, I would pass this session to Dr. Kavi as our chief editor. Okay, to show to us the video montage of JOA. Please welcome Dr. Kavi.
Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. Can see the slide, Dr. Farida?
Yes.
Dr. Farida? Okay.
Yep,
So,
okay.
very quick introduction about Journal of Academia. So basically, we are the official academic journal of UiTM Negeri Sembilan, where we cover multidisciplinary scopes, such as in the field of science and technology and also the social sciences. And we cover, for the science and technology, we cover fields such as like chemistry, biology, food and textile. And for the social sciences, we are covering the economics and finance, accounting, business management, and also education. We are the open of call for paper for our journal is like open throughout the year. Basically, we have 2 issues. One is in April, another one is October issue. Okay, so at the moment we have opened the October issue. So if let's say any participants or any authors are interested to submit your paper, feel free to submit your paper to us. And then we typically accept the original research articles at the moment. And the type of review, we are basically doing the double-blind review process, and we do not have any article processing charges. So basically, to publish with Journal of Academia, this is free of charge, And also our journal is indexed by My Journal, which is a reputable Malaysian citation, and also Road due to our open access this one, and also Google Scholar, so that we can disseminate to a wider audience. Okay, apart from that, last but not least, here we have recently we got the news that if let's say students from masters or PhD candidate, this is only for UiTM. If let's say they are from the Faculty of Applied Sciences or Faculty of Administrative Science and Policy Studies, they are, if let's say they publish with Journal of Academia, this can be taken as a fulfill their requirement, publication requirement. So this is just applicable for UiTM students. Okay, with that, I will play the montage video. Just hang on. Okay, thank you for watching our montage. So, Dr. Farida.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Kavirajaa, for sharing our video on JOA new website. So I hope you all aware with the new website of JOA, and thank you for those who are still staying in. Next, for the next session, okay, I hope you will still bear with us because we have now came to our final agenda of today, that is to announce the best paper of from 2016 until 2019. So it is my pleasure once again to invite Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Yamin Yassin, Director of UiTM Negeri Sembilan, to announce the best paper for JOA 2016-2019. Please welcome Prof to announce for the best paper.
Thank you again, Dr. Farida. Before I'm honored to be given the opportunity to announce the winner of, not the winner, but the winner of the Journal of Academia Editor's Choice for Best Paper. Just before I'll make my announcement, again, I would like to thank Dr. Syed Shahabuddin for a very brief presentation. It's very inspiring. Similar goes to Dr. Wenny from Indonesia. I hope our collaboration can be elaborated further. And for Dr. Syed Shahabuddin, we are in the midst of signing the MOU. Inshallah, will be soon. Then we go in the same way with Dr. Wenny as well. With that, I would like to announce the editor's choice of best paper. First is from the science and technology category. The winner for the best choice is the paper with the title Physical-Chemical Properties of Rambutan Seed, a fat by Nadia Aja, and the rest of the authors, including Naima, Azlin, Sabrina, Hasvinda, Najiha, Nurashikin, Armi, Fatin, Iliana, Shahira, Mama Ikmat, and also Shahira. Congratulations to all of you. This is not easy to get the editor's choice for best paper, especially in the science category, because the competition is very stiff. Yeah? So for the next paper, for the editor's best choice on the social sciences category, the paper with the title Mobile Assisted Language Learning in Developing Second Language Learners Understanding of Grammar by Rosina, Tengku Nazatul Shima, Muhammad Ismail, Rahma, and Hafiza has been selected by the editors for the social sciences category. Congratulations again to all of you. Congratulations. So I pass it again to Dr. Farida for the next action. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Prof.
The session.
Yes, thank you, Prof. Okay, thank you, Professor Dr. Yamin Yassin. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for officiating. Thank you for announcing the appreciation for JOA Best Paper. With the end of the appreciation session, this has marked the end of the program for today. Okay, once again, I would like to forward to you once again the link for attendance. For attendance record, this is the QR code. Okay, I would stay for around like few seconds or minutes for you to scan the QR code. Okay, on behalf of the JOA editorial board and organizing committee, I wish to thank all the guests and participants to this program. Special thanks to our rector, UiTM Negeri Sembilan, Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Yamin Yassin, Deputy Rectors, Research and Industrial Linkage, Dr. Nordis Ahmad, Deputy Rector of Academic Affairs, Associate Professor Dr. Abdul Halim Ramli, Deputy Rector of Student Affairs, Mr. Muhammad Zuhilmi Yunus, all the head of faculty, program coordinators from all the 3 campuses of Kuala Pilas, Remban and Rembau. Special thanks also to the international participants who has been staying in to watching the live streaming from Indonesia and also from India. And also thanks to our local participants from our colleagues within UiTM branches, campuses, our local participants from other higher educational institutions. Thanks for being with us. Now, I would leave you all with a quote by Stuart Brand, an author and innovative thinker who once said that we can see the past but not influence it. We can influence the future but not see it. Let us all be guided by all the things we have learned and heard throughout this program and be able to see and influence our future. Therefore, we look forward to seeing you at next programs in coming future. Thank you once again for taking out your valuable time to join us today. With that, I thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and to all Muslims, Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri. Maaf Zahir dan Batin. Thank you from all of us in JOA.